As I was praying on what to share, God put this message in my heart for a specific person. And I want you, if you watch this video and you know it is you, then just know that God has given an answer to the question that you have, or God has given you an answer finally through me. Well, I don't know why, but He did. I'll give you a story. About 12 years ago, I got a camera via hire purchase through an acquaintance who, by God's grace, lent me the camera and was supposed to pay it through monthly installments. So one month, business was doing terrible. That month, I had no money in my account to do the monthly installment that I normally did. And so I decided this month, let me walk by faith. Let me put action to where my faith is. And so, as I normally did, I drew out a check to this guy's account, and then I went to the bank, trusting all the way, saying, God put money in my account. God put money in my account so that now this check wouldn't bounce. And so when I got to the teller, I gave him the check. The teller checked my account and said, but you have got no money in your account. So why are you giving me this check for? And I was like, God was supposed to put money there in. And she looked at me weirdly. She's like, please don't waste my time. And I left that bank dejected, my head held down, feeling like I've embarrassed myself before all these other customers in the bank. And I felt that God had failed me. I took a step of faith, of boldness, putting my action, my money where my mouth is. But my faith had failed me. And I didn't understand why God failed me. And so this video today, God was telling me that there is someone who has been trusting in God or walking out in faith, and yet they feel that their faith is not working, or they feel like God is just taking a stroll and forgotten about them. And they feel like their faith is failing them. And the Bible keeps on insisting that faith without actions is dead. Why is it that when you take action, then it doesn't work? So this video is for you, and I hope at the end of this video, you'll get the answer to your questions. God led me also to a story for Elijah and King Ahab, and it is during the 3.5 year drought period. Let me just read verbatim how it says. It's in 1 Kings 18, verse 41. It says this: Then Elijah said to Ahab, go up and eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain. Mark this. This is in the middle of the drought, yeah. And Elijah tells Ahab to go up and eat and drink because there is a sound of abundance of rain. Yet it was as hot as the Gobi Desert or the Sahara Desert. Ahab went up to eat and drink, and Elijah went up to the top of Mount Carmel. Then he bowed to the ground and put his face between his knees, yeah. And then he said to his servant, go up and look towards the sea. He went up and looked and said, there is nothing. And 7 times again he said, go again. I want you to mark the number 7 again. And then it came to pass, the 7th time that he said, there is a cloud as small as a man's fist. Just imagine, rising out of the sea. He said, go up and say to Ahab, prepare your chariot and go down before the rain stops you. Now here's the interesting thing, what God was trying to tell me about you, that so many of us, we try once, and then if it doesn't work, we give up. We're like, God, this faith thing and me are done. It doesn't work. God, you're a fraud. God, this thing, I'm not embarrassing myself again. God, I'm not doing it again. God, this faith thing doesn't work. Many of us are of the idea that you try once and it fails, and then faith is a fraud. But here, the interesting thing is that Elijah tells his servant to go up and check 7 times. Just imagine that. Every time he goes up and says, check. Elijah knew something about God and about faith. You're telling his servant, go up and check. And yet, Elijah had already committed himself. He already told Ahab, there's a sound of rain coming. And now here he's praying and trusting God. And yet, the first time, the second time, till the 7th time, that's when there was a cloud, imagine, as small as a man's fist. Just imagining the whole sky, a cloud as small as that. And yet Elijah told Ahab, get into your chariot because it's about to rain. That is faith, guys. And for you, I want you to not give up on your faith. I want you, God is telling me, tell them to take another step of faith and another step of faith. Do not give up on God. Do not say that, God, this thing doesn't work. I'm done with you, God. I'm done. I'm going back to the world. I'm going back to the club. No. Don't give up on God, because it takes time. And God was telling me this, that the reason why faith most of the time doesn't work during the first trial, is for it to build up your faith, to build up. Like the way you go to the gym, you don't lift up a dumbbell once and you build a muscle. You do it over and over and over again. And the more you learn to exercise your faith muscle, then the more stronger your faith will be. So my child, whoever you are, just take one more step of faith. Just trust God one more time. Just give him one more chance to prove himself. Don't give up like me 12 years ago and said, God, you're a fraud, and walk away from him. Just try it once again. And maybe the 7th time will be the charm. Till next time, guys, God bless.